Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to another synth soundset walkthrough. Today we're back with Zebra. I don't know what that one's doing there. That one. We're starting with Zebra 2. This is a soundset called Zebra Elysium. Basically, it is a collection of 128 patches for Zebra 2 with, like I did with Serenity, there is a Dark Edition, which also has an extra 128 sounds for Zebra HZ, or Dark Zebra, the Hans Zimmer version of Zebra, if you will. Yeah, so you can either buy the main pack just for normal Zebra 2, or you can buy the bonus pack, which bundles both sound sets together, which we call Dark Edition. Now, the idea behind Zebra Elysium is subtler, smaller, synthier analog sounds for more atmospheric and lighter touch underscore work. It also is very good for electronica as well because of that. So there's less aggressive sounds in there. It's all more sort of the lighter, bubblier stuff that backs up your orchestration kind of thing. If that doesn't make so much sense right now, then let's play some sounds and that'll give you a bit more of an idea, I guess. So we'll start off in the ARP section as we often do. So as you can get already from that one, it's very much about those supporting sounds rather than anything that's particularly aggressive. So in preparation for this one, I've been listening to Cliff Martinez, James Newton Howard, Thomas Newman, so those sort of artists that use a bit of electronica but use it in slightly more, well, slightly less robust ways, not so much of a hybrid-y kind of thing. So yeah, we've got some nice little ARPs to play with. They're quite light and cuddly almost. So bass lines, obviously bass lines still have a bit of aggression in them, but they're not too hard-edged. But as with my other Zebra sounds, there's always a bit of a focus on trying to get something quite synthy, unlike Omnisphere, where you're doing the sort of the sound designy style sounds. This is very much, you know, it sounds like a synth. It's supposed to sound like a synth. So like I said at the opening, they're aimed at being supportive sounds rather than the stuff right at the front. guess a couple of other scores that I had a bit of a listen to was Michael McCann's excellent Deus Ex game score, which is very synthy but very atmospheric. Huge fun. And I also listened to a bit of Harry Gregson Williams, as I always seem to end up doing. Total Recall, which does have its more aggressive dubsteppy moments, but there's also some rather nice lighter stuff in there. And finally the Snow Sea. So there you go. Not too heavy, not too in your face, but still some nice weight to them and plenty of movement, which is what I always try to achieve. I was going to have a look at these while I was going on. Yeah, I'll keep that open because that's quite interesting. So punchy modulating bass. Nice and moody. Actually, this is this is probably one of the more aggressive sounds in the whole thing. And even that's not aggressive; it's still quite subtle. Go through a few more basses. Okay, so mod wheel. So again, lots of stuff patched into the mod wheel to give you instant dynamic performance. And let's just close this for a moment. And so we've also got the XY thingamies, which Zebra has. So all sorts of controls there. So actually slightly, maybe too subtle a noise for that one to work. Let's try something else. Let's go about optronics. Let's see. So there's the filter. So you can get a bit of aggression there, and not too much going on with the envelope. Nice bit of detune. And then, so nice and dry, and then full of reverb and delay. So they're all the patches will have at least 3, most of them do have 4 of the XY zones programmed in. So this is the modulation on the mod wheel. A bit more bass to finish. So again, the basses they're not massively aggressive and in your face. I'm using the word aggressive far too much at the moment, but it does quickly explain what I've done here. Okay, so we've got a couple of, well, 3 drum hits. I don't tend to put a lot of drum hits in this simply because, excuse me, you have so many drum libraries already, but sometimes it's nice to have some synthy drums at your fingertips, and of course you can then play with them and twist them yourself and develop them and create new ones. So does have its charm. Okay, so there's a few more keys and leads this time for that sort of gentle, melodic, down-tempo stuff. Well, that's a dub. That's a bum note and a half. Excuse me. So a nice bit of analog drift in some of these. That's very that's very velocity sensitive, this one. So you got quite a bit of play in that one. And then in the leads, there are some nice crisp analog sounds here. So as well as the cinematic stuff, there's a bit of a leaning towards the ambient, I suppose. Which I like. So outside of the cinematic influences, you know, there's a bit of the old Vangelis and Tangerine Dream and 80s style lurking in there. As very much displayed by that particular sound. We've got some loops, some percussion loops in there. So we have a beefy kick sequence. So you can fit these together and create your own sort of multi-layered loops, because there's a bit of variety in here. So that's holding down several notes. Gives it a bit of extra movement, which is quite fun. And you can do some quite nice ethnic percussion sounds if you use the comb filters in particular. Rather good for that. And the noise filters, actually, the FM stuff. It's all very useful. And then we come to the big section, the main section, as ever, with one of my sound sets, absolutely chock full of pads. So I won't labour too much on these, we'll just go through a few of them. I mean, I could very much just program pads all the time. If I was forced to choose, that is what I would choose. There's quite a wide variety of pads in here. This one in particular has some harmonic elements, which I occasionally pop into them. Now this is something worth mentioning on here. So there are quite a few pads that have modulation on them, so almost gating effects. Now, what I've done there is, so that's opening the mod wheel, but I've used the pitch wheel to control the LFO speed. So if you just, so there we are, speeding it up. And then slowing it down. So just so that you can, whether you need to reflect tempo changes, or even if you just want to be creative with the way they're gated, that's in there on a number of pads on this particular sound set. So as you can see again with this one. And that came through from a couple of suggestions from people on what they were looking for new Zebra sounds, so I've put a few of those in. And there's some nice dark stuff in there that reflects my deep love of Nordic detective dramas. Nice bit of mod wheel on that one. Play something a bit high. Another one of those modulating pads there, and so that's the pads. There's a few more soundscape type bits and bobs in this one, I think I did more this time. Not entirely sure now. I've confused myself. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. So as is often the case with my soundscape stuff, it is a bit more dark rather than light. It's a nice glitchy metallic nonsense going on there. Ligeti machine. Probably get the idea of the vibe there. Tuning issues. And why not? I always kind of like my soundscape sounds to be the sort of sound where you can literally just let it go. And on it goes. And it does very much most of the work for you. Is it lazy? Yeah. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with lazy. So, lots of soundscapes. Well, enough. How many do you want? Okay, so we'll go to the sequences. Bit of fun there with the mod wheel. So again, these are nice sort of supportive sounds. And some of these are a bit more actiony, I think. So there is a little bit in there that can be used for the more action moments. Wheel. Yes, so that's Zebra Elysium. Okay, so we've gone through a number of the patches there. Now what I'm just going to quickly do here is switch over to HZ. Okay, so that's now recording HZ, and bring it up. No information available. Oh, that's because I haven't selected anything, of course. Okay, so I'll bring it back up. Oh, it's patch information on here for the nearsighted, it would seem. Okay, so as you would probably expect, there's a darker, grittier, more saturated analog sound to the Dark Edition patches, which we'll go through a little more quickly than we have with the others. Mainly because of the lovely Diva filters, the high pass and the low pass, and particularly with these bass lines and sequences, etc., I've used the compressors a bit, just to add a bit of extra weight and punch. Okay, so without further ado, so there's also probably a bit more weird detuning going on as well. Try and go through patches we didn't go through last time, if I can. So hopefully you're picking up the darker vibe. And then quickly moving on to a few bass noises. Now, for some reason, when doing the bass noises, because what I do in the Dark Zebra version, it's not just about applying the filters and the compressors and stuff. I do fiddle with the sounds a bit. So some, whilst they're sort of very subtle expansions on the original Zebra sound, some of them do end up moving quite a long way away, simply because that's where it takes me. And yeah, with some of the basses, they've gone quite sort of retro 70s analog. Which is great if you're into that whole sort of power glove vibe, I guess. Mod wheel. And so the drums are darker. Yeah, you'll have to take my word on that. So lots of crazy noise going on there. What haven't we done last time around? Harmonious. That's one of my favourite sounds in this particular pack. So yes, the drums are also really look at that deeple. That's not a word. such an idiot. Yeah, so the loops. That explains why I write things like DeepL, because I don't even speak. Yeah, the loops do have a darker edge to them. They sound a little bit, I guess, like they've been... Sorry, I'm stretching. I've been sat down for a while. I shouldn't have done that, really. Yeah, so they sound a bit like they're going through some old, broken analog gear, which is always nice. I reckon. So you have to be a little bit careful playing the pads. I would recommend, certainly when you're writing, turning it down to draft. I'm going to grade here, so I might just whack it all fast just so it avoid any unpleasantness. So there's another one of these modulating pads there. All that movement is just the sound, I'm not touching anything else. Just playing notes. Which is rather pleasant. Long tail. I'm going to break it. That's a very mysterious one, there, isn't it? Lots of interesting atonal stuff going on. So I was going to go through these quickly, but I don't seem to be doing that, so never mind. Did a bad job, Battler. Yeah, so there's a bunch more pads in this version. Hopefully they've got a bit more of a interesting vibe. That sort of dark, broken vibe. the soundscapes again. Now, if, as you're listening to this, you're going, yeah, I think I can tell the difference between the original Zebra patches and the dark versions, but I'm not sure. I have done a demo track called Humidity, which you can check out on my SoundCloud page. And it'll be on the product page for this as well. Obviously, when that goes live on Friday. And the track, there's a version of the track which is the dark mix, which is the original version I did using just the dark edition patches for Zebra HZ. And then I went back in and swapped all the same patches over for the versions in the lighter, in the Zebra, in the main Zebra 2 patch, and called that the light mix. So you can basically get a pretty good immediate idea of what the difference between the patches is just from those two mixes. So exactly the same track, exactly the same patches, but you can compare the dark edition patches against the originals. And then maybe you can decide whether you want to get the full dark edition if you've got Zebra HZ, which you do need. You can't use them without. Or whether you're just happy with the original version. Personally, I think that would be madness, because, you know, might as well get both. Let's play some mod wheel. And finally, that's the mod wheel. Yeah, great. Okay, just to finish off, I will do a direct comparison. Let me just switch back to Zebra. Okay, so let's what should we pick? What's going to be a good example? What haven't we played? Is there? Okay, let's go for Praxis 12. I don't know whether I played that on either go through. So Praxis 12, it's a lead which is somewhere between a bell synth and an electric piano. Lovely and expressive. Okay, so that's the normal version. Let's find it here. Hope you can remember it. I don't know, I felt like going, ta-da! So, yeah, so that gives you a bit of the idea of the vibe. If I were to choose, I probably prefer the Dark Edition version of the sounds, mainly because I do like those Diva filters, and there is just that sort of grittier analog edge, which suits my music. My sort of atmospheric synthy neoclassical doo-dah stuff that I kind of try to do, it fits that better. So yeah, so that's Zebra Elysium. So as I say, it will come in two versions. Listen very carefully here, because I know some people bought both versions last time. You do not buy both versions. You never need to buy both versions. You either buy the original Zebra Elysium version for just Zebra 2, or you buy the Dark Edition where you get both sound sets. That's why it's a bit more expensive. Not just because I feel Zebra HZ deserves to be more expensive for some reason. So don't buy both versions. Okay. Yeah, so they'll be available on Friday, and I'm really pleased with them. I think this is a great sound set. I think this might be my favourite sound set so far. I don't know whether I keep saying that every time. I hope not. Maybe that's just because you always like the newest stuff best. What's freshest is always good to you. But I'm very pleased with this. I know that I'm going to be using this absolutely tons myself. In fact, I already have been using it a load on a library album that I've been working on. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening, and hopefully you've heard stuff that you like the sound of. Any feedback you've got, please do leave it under the video, or message me via my website. I am always keen to receive your thoughts, and any music that you've used my stuff on, or what projects you're using my sounds on. I am always really, really interested, because I just love to know that people are using my sound sets. That's what's most important to me, to know that they're out there getting used by people and people are enjoying them. So thanks once again for listening, as I say, and watching. I don't know how my new reflection filter has done today on the mic. I'm using my Neumann mic again. This is the second time. Last time it did pick up rather a lot of the keyboard noise and the hum from my computer. I think my computer's humming rather a lot at the moment, in protest because I've got a new PC that I haven't yet installed into my studio, and it's probably feeling a bit sad and sorry for itself. Who knows? Anyway, thanks again, and I will be back with another sound set next month. Yes, there will be another one next month as well. Okay, thanks again.